Yes. Hey Sanju, how are you?
I'm good. A bit tired, but good. How are you?
I am also very fine, very good. What's the day in Thailand?
It's 8 p.m. right now, but it's been a long day today, driving around the town to get work done. But I'm happy to be here now.
Okay. Welcome to the Hub Talks, especially today guest Mr. Sanju, who will talk about mental health. Welcome, Sanju.
I,
As far as my concern, I am a teacher by profession and serve as a shaper in global shaper community in Faisalabad hub in Pakistan for service of humanity and add values in the people's precious beautiful life. And I also attached with the psychology with last 1 year, and
Mhm.
I observe the thought process and emotional process, spiritual process, and these three factors are very important in every human being. And these three aspects play a very important role in every society, in every being. And with this introduction of me, I welcome and introduce yourself, Mr. Sanju, please.
So I'm Sanju. I'm actually my great grandfather was actually from Pakistan, and he moved to India, and then he moved to Thailand afterwards. I was born in Thailand, and for me, I've been a global shaper for the past 5 years now, and I was a curator for Bangkok Hub last year, and so now I'm the outgoing curator, and then I'm also the global lead for mental health project under the Equity and Inclusion Committee for Global Shapers community. And in Bangkok, I worked as a mental health advocate, and I also started my own application regarding mental health to help reduce stress level in for Thai people in Thailand.
And in my point of view, I remember one quotation from Thales. He is a philosopher. The most difficult thing in the life is to know yourself. The most difficult thing is in life is to know yourself. But it is also very beautiful experience to explore every aspect of life or being. And what is your perspective about this human being as the knowing yourself?
I think it is very important. I mean, it's really hard for you to know what you want in life, who you are in life, who you are to yourself, and who you are to everyone else. And basically knowing what is it that is your end goal in life. And when we walk through life, there are so many shiny things around us in our life, whether it be materialistic things or whether it be spiritual things or anything. And so we always try to sway away from what is our true goal in life and maybe go with what the community want us to do, go with what we think others might think is the best for us, go with what we think is the right thing, even though it might not be the right thing for us. So yeah, I believe that it is the hardest thing for us to be empathetic to ourselves and to know our true self. And it is possible. Not that it is not possible. It is possible, but it takes a lot of patience and a lot of understanding your own self for you to get there.
It means there are different exercises and practices to deep into your being and as a human, as like a meditation process. In meditation process, you have a silent place, you have a silent mind, and you have a silent piece of harmony in which you attach with your self being. And it's very important. And one story I read about you on your profile. What is your motivational story about your depression and how you transform your life into the happiness and full of happy life?
I wouldn't say that I'm completely happy at the moment, but I'm doing my best to stay as positive as possible. But I've lived with depression and schizophrenia for the past 4 years. And it started with stress, a lot of stress from work, a lot of self-doubting, and then it just came in one day where you just started crying in your house, not knowing what was going on, and you started having these thoughts like, am I good enough, am I needed in my family, am I needed in my community? And then you start feeling lazy, that you don't want to do anything at all, you don't want to stay home, you don't want to go out, and you don't know what you want to do. So we thought that I had some sort of brain issue. So we went to do MRI, but we didn't find anything wrong with my brain, thank God. But then it came towards the end of the year in 2015 where I started hallucinating, and I started hearing voices. And being in a place where Thailand is a pretty spiritual country and a pretty superstitious country as well. So being in that part of the world, instead of going to see a psychiatrist, I was taken to see one of those religious doctors who said that they need to perform some sort of ceremony on me for me to get better. And for me, as someone who is not a big believer of anything supernatural, it was very hard for me to be in that space. And that for me was the bottom of my life at that point. So I decided to just ran away from there. Wanted to come back home. And it was a few days or a few weeks after that I decided to go see a psychiatrist. It was one of my aunt who told me to go to one of the hospital, and I decided to go there. And after about 2 weeks with the psychiatrist, I got the diagnosis that I have major depressive disorder and schizophrenia. So it was good that finally something makes sense in my life, that it wasn't about being taken away by ghosts or anything anymore, and it was about a medical thing that can be treated. So we started my treatment. It started with taking about 2 antidepressants per day, then it went to 4 to 8 to 10 to 12 to 16 different pills per day. And I was severely self-harming myself at that time as well. So it was so severe that I had to go through a thing called electroconvulsive therapy. It is a therapy where they electrically shock your brain to try and normalize the hormone level inside you. And I was getting better after a few times doing that, because I start to forget certain things that happened to me, and I had to do that about 36 times. And during that time with the pills and everything, my weight went from 95 kg to almost 150 kg within a time of maybe 4 or 5 months. So I had to stop doing ECT, because when I do anesthesia, I stop breathing. So it became too risky for me. So we had to stop that, and I had to go back into the mental facility and stay there. And so I was in and out of it for about 3 times. And when I tried to talk to my friend, why am I being stressed? Why am I not feeling like doing anything? Why am I feeling like I want to hurt myself? People around me don't understand. They try to question me of why is it that I'm stressed. They try to tell me that you used to be such a happy person, and what's wrong with you now. And when you hear the things, you just feel so bad, because you just don't know, like, why am I like this? You just start questioning yourself even more. And with all the fact that people are sympathetic to you, but people are not empathizing with you, it just makes it harder for me to just be alive. So in 2017, I decided to commit suicide. Um, I did what I had to do. I pretty much planned it for a while, sent messages to my friends, to my parents, and did what I had to do. But I was taken to the hospital in time, and so I was put into the ICU and back into the mental facility. And then I came out again, and then again, all these emotions started happening. I started hearing voices, seeing things, and when I tell people that, I hear voices, or I see this person looking at me next to my bed or whatever, and they like to tell me that, well, stop thinking about it, or stop listening to the voices. And the fact is that those voices is not your voices. When people tend to think, they tend to think in their own voice. You sort of have that own voice in your head, but this is not. This is something totally different, and you cannot control it. And so I decided to commit suicide again in 2018. But this time, before doing it, I called the suicide hotline that we have here first, but no one picked up my call. So when I came out of the hospital, I was like, if they didn't pick up my call, how many people out there whose calls are not being answered? So I decided to start my own sort of like an application to provide people safe space and connect to someone to listen to them as soon as possible. And since then, I've been advocating more and more for mental health, sharing my stories, talking about empathetic listening, talking about why is it to understand what's the difference between sympathy and empathy, and yeah, and here we are today.
Sanju, is very, very wonderful story, but it's very motivational story for those people who have suffering from depression, anxiety, and schizophrenic conditions, and even those suicidal condition in this mode and in this pandemic. It's very severe situation in every country. And as you said, that there are war of three things between you, thought war. And Sigmund Freud is a very greatest philosopher. He said psychodynamic personalities, every human being has three psychodynamic personalities within us. Number one is your ego. Number two is your id your wishes, like anything wish. Number three is your superego. There is a war between three elements between us. Someone said, yes, this thing is for me, and ego is the role between superego and id. It means that there is something between us which trigger us in something schizophrenic condition, that someone has an other personality in front of me, even though this is delusion, but this mind game is very, very severe and very, very important, that that person which does not exist in this room, but our mind generates that kind of person in the room. And what is this situation? You know better than me, because you have a practical experience about this. uh, how you define this schizophrenic or a depressive condition in which you control your thought process, and you become exit from that zone.
To be honest, when I used to have my depressive states, like deep panic attack or anxiety attack, I would need to go for maybe a Xanax to help calm myself down before anything happens. When it's schizophrenia, it's usually someone close to me. When they hear me talking to myself, they will come close to me and just try to not tell me to stop, but maybe just ask me, what is that person saying? Why is that person saying? What do you think that person is trying to tell you? And it's usually my mom who will just be like, okay, let's talk, and just calm me down. When you have that sort of delusion, it's really hard for you to establish what is real and what is not, because everything seems to be so real. And so it's hard for people sometimes to understand it, because for you, you don't see it, but for me, it's like that person is real. Like she is right there standing next to my bed or in my office or in my car, and it's so real. But I think to the start of the conversation, you talked about meditation and silence and everything. And it takes me back to how I used to not understand the concept of meditation as well, because I used to take meditation as, either praying or meditation as sitting silent. And because for someone who's schizophrenic, it's really hard for you to sit silent because you constantly hear voices. But then for me, when I try to understand what is it that it is being done, and then when I go into the mental facility as well, they're always talking about stay in the present. And to stay in the present means, of course, to meditate, to be mindful of who you are at the moment. And it can be also done in various ways. If you cannot sit silently, it can be done through artwork. You can paint. Your emotions can be brought out through the colors that you choose or the pictures that you draw. That can be very meditative for you. You can sing the words of your whatever you're feeling right now, or the song that reflects your emotions right now. That can be meditative for you. You can play instruments. You can walk your dog. You can walk in the park. You can sit and stare at the sky. You can do so many things. Whatever makes you stay present at whatever is in front of you, that for me is being mindful and being in a meditative state. Um, and so what I try to do is me and my friend we try to meet up every weekend just to do some paintings together, just to draw out our emotions from time to time. And I used to keep a journal where I'll write whenever I feel that I need to understand what I feel right now. I usually keep a journal that I'll just write down what is it that's going through my mind right now. And because when you write it out and then you read back to yourself and you're like, oh my God, are things really this bad to the words that I've written out? Because when you have written it out, it feels like, okay, you've let go of that anger or depressive state that you have in you. And then you read back to it and you're like, oh my God, things are, wow, that was powerful. And so yeah, that's very important for you just to reflect of your emotion at the present state and just be with yourself at the present state.
Very wonderful. One quotation I read from your profile is that the only thing greater the power of mind is the courage of heart. John Nash. He said John Nash. And
Yeah.
very wonderful quotation. Please explain it with your emotional and mind pattern form.
Yeah. So I mean, like whatever we do in our life, we tend to use our brain to think about all the issues that's going on. Even when we're talking to someone, let's say you have talked to someone today and I have talked to someone today, and a lot of time what actions we do in our life, we used to use our brain to just analyze everything. But when it comes to understanding yourself or understanding another person or understanding the problem that's going on globally, sometimes it's good for us to switch off our brain and listen with our heart. And that means to be empathizing with the problem that is in front of us, right? So as global shapers, we are trying to solve so many of the global problems that's going on. But if we just feel that this is a problem without empathizing with the problem, without taking our heart into the core of the problem, we will never be able to understand people who are living under that problem. And we will only be able to solve the problem from our perspective, but never able to solve the problem from the people who are living with it in their perspective. And this is why the idea that the power of the heart is greater than the power of the mind is for you to learn how to be empathetic to things around you and to yourself, so that you are able to understand that not everyone is the same in this world. Not everyone goes through the same process in this world. We might be all in the same giant boat, but we are all experiencing the wave differently. Some might be seasick right now, some might be seasick later, but we just need to be understanding of one another so that we can live together in harmony.
To become a good listener, it's mean to become a very good listener.
Yeah, that's where the idea of empathetic listening comes into play, where you learn how to listen to someone without judging them. You learn to listen to someone without putting your own understanding into their thoughts. You learn to listen to someone without trying to solve their problem from your perspective. You just try to listen to them, and then you try to understand them and reflect their emotions back to them of how they are feeling right now.
Hmm. Stephen Covey, Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, the author of this book, Stephen R. Covey, he similarly said same words. Most of the people have a words to respond the other person instead of listening carefully.
Yeah.
uh, Bill Clinton, the American president, he said mental illness is nothing to be ashamed of, but stigma and bias shame us all. And
Yeah.
my question is from me to you is that why people put tag or label something wrong with mental illness? Why? In every society, in every country.
Yeah. So I mean, we have it in Thailand as well. Of course, it's mental health is stigmatized all around the world, and it's because people don't truly understand it. I say that the best people who are able to talk to you about mental health is usually people who have been through mental health themselves, because they truly understand what it's like, to have depression or to live with bipolar or to have post trauma stress disorder or schizophrenia. And when you live in for example in Thailand, where the word mental health itself can be used as a slang, it puts a big stigmatization on people who live with mental health. When you sort of say that everyone with mental condition is crazy or stupid, it puts a big stigma on those people. When you say that someone who is with a mental condition must be stupid and they're not good enough for the society, that puts a lot of stigma on there. Or when you say that anything that happens with the brain can only be fixed with maybe like ghost doctor or religious doctor or spiritually, that put a big stigma on it, because then you do not believe in the medical field anymore, that these things can be treated and there are ways to be treated. For example, in Thailand, if someone is a pervert, we also use the term rokjit, which means psychosis, to call them a pervert, which also already put that everyone is psychosis is a pervert. If we use it that way, that's only one way of stigmatizing it. Second way is that if we move out of Bangkok and if we move into rural areas, a lot of time when people are schizophrenic, they're either tied down in their home or they're just kicked out of the house because they are believed to be possessed. And so that's where people are then taken to the temple to do all these rituals and all that, and people do not take them to go see a doctor because they believe that sometimes for them something that they don't understand needs to be solved with something that they don't understand. You cannot solve something you don't understand with something that you can understand. Sometimes people just feel that way. And so they just don't go to doctors and they go that way instead. And it's also that, mental illness is the easy way out for so many things. When you have shooting down of many people, you just blame it on that person is not mentally stable. When someone do something bad, you just say that person is not mentally stable. And it's so easily that makes mental health to be stigmatized. In fact, that people with depression sometimes they're just normal people, smiling, happy, and they're just living their life, but they just have that moment at some time they just need some time alone. People with schizophrenia, John Nash was schizophrenic, and he did the Nash equilibrium, and he did so many other amazing things. And there's so many other amazing people with some sort of mental health condition. It's just that whether you're gonna speak up about it or not. And the more people speak up, the more we empower people to speak up, the more we can break down the stigma around it.
Yes, very wonderful, very wonderful. And there is no health without mental health. In our society, in every country, how climate change can affect a person's mental health? How?
Well, I mean, look at it, right? For me, when I started mental health, my project back in 2018, I was coming with I had a lot of passion that I wanted to share my story. And during that time, towards the end of 2018 and 2019, people were more interested in climate change. And for me, it was my voice was getting thinner and thinner because no one was listening to mental health until I reached out to a few other shapers. Like, are there link between climate change and say mental health? And they say there are a lot of studies done on there, and there is a link between climate change and mental health. And we had a pollution problem in Bangkok at that time, and it says that increasing pollution can cause people to have dementia. And it also talked about green spaces and mental health, how having a large number of green spaces within a very crowded city can elevate people to have a better mental health as well. And let's put it this way, right? If farmers are growing crops, and due to climate change, the weather pattern changes, it means that this year drought comes and stays for a longer period. It means that these farmers cannot grow crops anymore. And if they cannot grow crops, it means that they're going to have problem with their financial status. And when they have problem with financial status, they're just going to have mental health condition because of high stress level. Or, when we take Australia, for instance, with the wildfire, a lot of firefighters came out that time with PTSD because they had to go in and fight with the fires, or people were just having climate anxious because they feel that whatever happened there can happen wherever they live, or wherever places where there's flash floods caused by any sort of change reaction from climate change, people losing their home. It can cause these sort of mental stress triggers. And that is not just climate change, because we can also take it to, let's say, education and employment, right? Let's say people who do not receive the same level of education, they can also have some sort of mental health problem that links to them in the future as well. They could feel that they're not doing better in their life, they're not having financial stability like other people. It same comes from employment. If they're not safe employment rights for different people. They can also feel that they're being segregated from the actual community, and also with the rights. Even people with disability, if they live in a society, is there rights for them same as the rights with able-bodied people? Are they able to go from point A to point B as easy as someone who's able to walk or see or hear? So all these things comes into play for us to take into consideration.
And Sanju, what is the solution of this effect which is developed in every society, in every environment? What is the solution of this kind of situation?
The thing first is we need to empower more people living with mental condition to speak up without shaming them, right? Because once they are able to speak up, at least if 10 are able to speak up, more people will be willing to speak up, because now they feel that they're not alone anymore. A lot of time people with mental health condition feel that they're alone because they just feel ashamed about themselves, or that they just feel that they're not worthy of the community that we are living in. Second is for us to truly understand what empathetic listening is. We cannot just, we cannot just wait for people to have full blown depression for them to go see a psychiatrist, because we do not have enough mental health workers globally to take care of everyone. I think the stat right now is 9 mental health workers for every 100,000 people. But I mean, that's not true for every case, right? If you go to maybe Pakistan, India, if you go to African nation, if you go to Thailand, that's not the number that we have. So we need to teach the public of empathetic listening, how to listen to someone without judging them, how to listen with someone without shaming them, just listening to them and allowing them to have that safe space for themselves, and then asking for the government to invest more into mental health. Because we during the start of COVID, we have that sort of idea that mental health problem is going to come sooner or later. Either it be because of the COVID situation, the lockdown situation, or the financial crisis that comes afterwards. Even in Thailand, we already predict that the number of suicide this year is going to be one of the highest year ever. And so it's about asking for the government to invest into mental health facilities so that people who have mental health condition can reach out to psychologists and psychiatrists. And it's also about educating people. Like in certain, we have a shaper from Zambia who said that there's not even a word of mental health in his country. And it's about educating people what it is and creating a word for it so that people can relate to it, and allowing people to know that it is okay to not be okay, and that this is all a medical condition, and that you can go to see a doctor to get it treated.
It's all our responsibility to care about the people around us, and we have a good listener without judgment them. And in second world war, I remember that 40,000 patients are required, some doctors and psychologists and psychiatrists, about 4,000. America arranged the psychologists, psychiatrists, and different mental health professionals for the World War II to care about that people, and because the ratio of depression, anxiety, and schizophrenic conditions and suicidal ratios in Second World War are also very rising. So
Hmm.
it's in every society we have a responsibility to care about, to good listener around us, which every fifth person in every society have suffered from this depression and anxiety because of this pandemic and financial and whatever he thinks. uh, there are different reasons about the depression and anxiety and schizophrenic condition. And recently in India, one actor, Sushant Singh, is also has a suicidal condition, and his death on the news I saw last week. And my question is from me to you: what is thought process? What is thought process? How this thought process convert our condition into the depression or anxiety?
it's not just about thought process, right? It's about depression can be caused by so many things. For me, it was work stress. Some people might be because they were sexually assaulted. Some people might just be because they broke up with their partner. Some people might be because they just realized that they have been adopted. And there's so many reasons that could cause someone to fall into depression. Or they could also be where if someone is, say, something happened to them when they were a kid, they were in a car crash, or they lost someone who was dear and near to them. Then when they grow up, they can also have post-trauma stress disorder that they never knew before that they had it, but something in their life triggered it for them to have that. So, so it's really hard to pinpoint of what is it that is the reason that causes depression. Um, a lot of time we see that suicide comes out, at least in Thailand, is that it's because of a relationship problem. So it's not the same for every country. It goes according to what is it that is your culture, what is it that's the living condition, what is it that is the society that you're in, and so it's really hard to pinpoint what is it thought process. But there are signs that you can look out for when you think that someone might be depressed. You start to see that their action changes. They might be a little bit more introvert, even if they used to be extrovert. They might not reply to you that often. They might keep to themselves. They might say something that could be very dark, and they might not want to come out to meet you that often. These are some of the signs that you can see from people who are depressed, and that could be a time where maybe you can just check in on them. But when we check in, it's also important to know how to check in. It's not just that you can just go and ask them how they're doing. You just need to know that when you ask some sort of questions, it's an open-ended question, because you don't want them to answer just yes or no. You really want to know how is it that they're feeling, and if they're not in the mood to talk, you do not push them to talk. You just let them know that, hey, if you want to talk, I'm here. You can let me know anytime. And that's when you create that connection with them and they feel safe to talk to you. That's when they can open up, and then you will understand what was it that caused them to have that sort of problem that they're having right now.
uh, as far as I believe, and I stress that the definition of success and the definition of depression or anxiety differs, variate from every individual person. And one of the American author, Elizabeth, she said that you are, after all, what you think. You are what you think, but your emotions are the slaves to your thoughts, and you are the slave to your emotions. It
Yep.
means first emotions are the slave of our mind and thought, then we are the slave of our emotions, and emotions hijack us, and we are depressed, we are suffering from anxiety and schizophrenia, and that emotions revolve around us like a spirit, bad spirit. How you percept about this?
I don't know, because for me, thoughts and emotions are very different, right? You can think that you're happy, but you're not feeling happy. Right? You can think something, but you don't feel it. When it's emotion, is what you feel, and your thought is what you think. So it comes back to your heart and your brain, right? Your thought process goes through your brain, and then your feeling, your emotion goes through your heart. You can go out for a dinner right now. You can smile to everyone. That's your thought process that I'm happy right now. But inner, your emotion is you're so sad and you're feeling so lonely. But you're just putting that facade that you're happy. So that's where it comes back to you. It is very important for you to break that barrier of seeing yourself as a person that you used to be in the past, and understanding and accepting yourself, who you are in the present, how you're feeling in the present. How is it that what is it that you want to do in the present? When you're able to do that, that's when you're able to align everything in the present to go together, and so that for you to understand yourself even better. You can it's How should I put it? Like, it's very easy that we live our life, like I said at the start, we try to live our life by how we want the society to see us, or when we go to Instagram and we sort of compare our life to other people's life, and so it's very hard for us when we have all these social media to know who we truly are. At the end of the day, it's very important for us to reflect, to understand what is it that we want out of our life. What is it that we want to do in life? What is it that we want to achieve in life? What is our end goal? Is our end goal happiness, or is our end goal success? It's very important for you to understand who you are and what is it that you want.
Sanju, one app you have an idea of SATI app, SATI SATI app, and what uh, what is the logic behind this concept and behind this idea? How this idea generate in your mind? Okay, there are three steps in SATI app which you describe, and please explain this idea, how this idea comes from, and how this SATI app is very plays a very important role in discerning our emotions and depression. Kindly, please.
So, the word sati in Thai means to be mindful. So it is a Buddhist word to be mindful. And every time that I start to have panic attack, I usually used to call one of my best friend, and they will always tell me like, hey, tang sati, which means, hey, be mindful, stay present. And so when I came out of the hospital, for me, it was like, okay, I needed to create a place where people felt safe to share their emotions. Sometimes even as men, we feel that we need it. It's shameful for us to cry, but sometimes we just want to cry, and it's okay for you to cry. It's okay for you to be vulnerable, and so I wanted to create this safe space for people to just be able to connect with someone who is a trained empathetic listener, who is just there, who is going to listen to them no matter what is the problem that they have, even if they just needed a shoulder to cry on. And so the idea is that we're going to have the listeners be trained by the Department of Mental Health. Once done, they're going to be volunteer on our application, and then people who are users can easily sign up on our application without giving us their names. They just need to give us their age, their gender, which is a spectrum-based gender, and then their location services. And they can connect themselves to anyone who is within their own geographical location, so that they share the same language or they share the same sort of culture, so that the person who listening to them it's easier for them to understand each other as well. We hope that by doing this, it means that we will be able to gain more people to understand empathetic listening and gain more people to be volunteer for us, and that for users to be able to reach out and find that safe space for them as soon as possible. And in the future, we're also going to work with Microsoft to add the AI feature in, and then the AI feature will learn the emotions that are being emoted by the users, and to understand what kind of emotions or tone level is it that signify that that person might be suicidal, so that the listener can then send an ambulance or police to sort of help that person before they actually commit suicide, and that they commit an act that cannot be undone once they have done it. So that's
Sanju, if I am in Pakistan and I am depressed and I am in anxiety and schizophrenic condition, and I sign up this app, and the psychologist, yeah, or people from wherever in the world attached with me, or nearby my country.
So right now, it's just gonna work in Thailand. So what we do is that we want to work with governments in different countries to bring it, because we want to work with the Department of Mental Health or Ministry of Public Health in every country. So right now we are going to launch in Thailand, and then later on we're going to launch in probably Czech Republic, which means that then when people from Czech Republic come to Thailand or people from Thailand go there, they can connect back to listener who are from their own country and listen to them. So for example, if future we have this application in Pakistan, it means that if you are in America, if you are in Thailand, if you're in anywhere, you can connect back to a listener who is from Pakistan or who can speak Arabic or Urdu as well.
Hmm, yes. And in last, Viktor Frankl, you know that he's very famous psychologist. He was a prisoner in Nazi camp in Germany. He said his quotation. I hear about that quotation, and that quotation is very important for me and every people who can change his behavior. And that quotation is that between stimulus and response, there is a space. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response, and in our response lies our growth and our freedom. It means between input and output, there is a power of your being to control your behavior. Be present, be mindful, be uh, in a moment of yourself. And that quotation is very important for every person who is depressed and in anxiety. As you said, sati, 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 be mindful, be present, be meditate in this moment. And at the last, after this quotation, I my last questions from me to you is that what are the tips and practical solutions give to the 21st century youth and people who suffers mental health issues like anxiety, depression, schizophrenic, suicidal attempts? Last message from you to the youth of the world, in Pakistan, in every place the people hear about this session.
I think it is very important for them to know that they're not alone, that they are normal, they're just like anyone else, and that it's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to not feel like talking to anyone. It's okay to just stand under the shower and do nothing. It's okay to cry. It's okay to break down. It's okay to feel guilty, you know? And it's also okay for people to know that even during this COVID situation, they should not feel bad if they feel happy. Your emotions are valid. Your emotions are worthy of you. Your emotions are who you are. And it's okay to be who you are, and for anyone else is to understand what mental health really is very important, because you can one day be in that space where you really need someone to listen to you. And it's just so important that we ourselves as youth also learn the difference between sympathy and empathy. A lot of people tend to very much confuse the two terms. So it is very important for you to understand what empathy really is. Empathy means that you take yourself to be in another person's shoe as well, to understand everything from their perspective, to understand the resources that they have, to understand the fight that they're fighting, so that you can understand and help them the best way possible or support them the best way possible. But at the end of the day, know that you're worthy and that it's okay to just be you.
Sanju, in World Economic Forum in the 21st centuries, he managed a list World Economic Forum managed a list of different skills that is very useful and beneficial for the people who live in this earth. And the one, emotional intelligence, is the first and toppest skill that we have to learn that skill. How you concern about this emotional intelligence?
It's again, it comes back to understanding yourself, right? Being mindful of who you are. The more you're able to empathize with someone, the more you become emotionally intelligent. The more you're able to understand what sad really is, what happiness really is, what anger really is, or what any other emotion really is. Also need to understand that the more you are empathetic, the more tired you become, because you understand so much emotions now. So it's very important for you to be empathetic, but at the same time, it's also very important for you to understand your limit and to understand your boundary, and for you to take care of yourself. Either by saying, "Hey, I'm worth it because dot dot dot." I'm worth it because I'm a global shaper. I'm worth it because I'm trying to change the world. I'm worth it because I'm being, and just saying gratitudes. I'm grateful for being able to meet Hasim today. I'm grateful for having this opportunity to talk on the computer. Just saying these grateful, being grateful. and being empathetic to your own emotions, being able to receive what is it that you're feeling right now. Take away the everything that is surrounding you, whether you're at a birthday party or whatever. What is it that you're feeling right now? Once you're able to take away everything that is surrounding you and just be with yourself, understand what is it that you're feeling, that's when you're going to feel the most comfort for you to take the next step of, okay, what do I need to do now for me to feel better or feel good, because right now I'm feeling sad. But if you're not able to just being able to reflect whatever is going around you, you're never going to reach that point, because we as humans are very good at deflecting, but we are very bad at reflecting.
And thank you very much from Sanju and giving us your most precious time by sharing your knowledge, experience with us. It was really very nice meeting for us to learn, understand, and observe the things which is related to our mental health and life. And thank you very much again. And it's a very precious and wonderful meeting and webinar with you. I hope that in future we will also discuss more over topics with you. And thank you very much.
No problem. Steve. I'm so sorry. There's something wrong with my camera, but I'm smiling right now. So thank you very much for this
Thank you very
opportunity.
much.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, okay. Thank you. जी ये थे संजू, ये थे ग्लोबल शेपर कम्युनिटी थाईलैंड के जो हैं वाइस क्रिएटर, यानी वहाँ के जो एक कम्युनिटी होती है उनका एक क्रिएटर होता है और एक वाइस क्रिएटर होता है, यानी हेड और एक वाइस हेड होता है। तो ये उनमें से एक वाइस क्रिएटर थे। अब इन्होंने अपने आप को कैसे तब्दील किया, अब ये खुद बता रहे हैं कि 2015 से ये डिप्रेशन, एंजाइटी और शिजोफ्रेनी तीनों कंडीशंस में है। जब ये साइकेट्रिस्ट के पास गए तो वो साइकेट्रिस्ट ने इनको सीवियर डिप्रेसिव एंजाइटी कंडीशन बताई कि इसमें इन्होंने इतने अपने आप को सीवियर कंडीशन में थॉट प्रोसेस और इमोशन के थ्रू अपने आप को इस प्रोसेस में ले गए हैं जिसमें ये एक लास्ट स्टेज या आप समझ लें कि नियरली टू सुसाइड, इन्होंने 2 बार सुसाइड करने की कोशिश की है अपनी लाइफ में, एक 2017 में और एक 2017 के एंड में या 18 में। तो ये बता रहे हैं कि ये तकरीबन इनका जो वेट था वो 90 kg था, 90 kg से इंक्रीज होकर इनका वेट 140-150 के करीब इनका वेट हो गया। तो ये उन्हीं हालात में ये अपने इमोशंस और अपने थॉट प्रोसेस से जंग कर रहे थे कि वो कहते थे कि मुझे लगता है कि एक कमरे में मेरे सामने कोई दूसरा बंदा बैठा हुआ है, खड़ा हुआ है, मेरे सामने कोई दूसरी पर्सनैलिटी है जिसको हम पर्सनैलिटी डिसऑर्डर कहते हैं, जिसको शिज़ोफ्रेनी कंडीशन कहते हैं कि एक चीज़ एग्जिस्ट ही नहीं करती, आप उसको अपने माइंड के थ्रू एग्जिस्ट करवा लेते हैं। जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल आप बाग में सैर कर रहे हैं और एक लाठी या एक पाइप पड़ा हुआ है बाग में, तो आप उसको समझ रहे हैं कि ये सांप है, तो आपका जो माइंड है वो चीज़ों को खुद फर्ज करके उसको रियलिटी बनाता रहता है। तो ये आपके पास इसका थॉट प्रोसेस होता है, थॉट प्रोसेस के बाद इमोशंस में कन्वर्ट होता है और इमोशंस के बाद वो एक्शन होता है और एक्शन से आपका बिलीफ सिस्टम जनरेट हो जाता है। जैसा कि उन्होंने इमोशंस के बारे में बात की कि अंडरस्टैंड योर इमोशन, अपने इमोशंस पे काबू पाएं, अपने इमोशंस को देखें कि आपके इमोशंस कैसे हैं। अब इन्होंने 2018 में इन्होंने बहुत साइकेट्रिस्ट, साइकोलॉजिस्ट, डॉक्टर्स, कोई बंदा नहीं छोड़ा जिनके पास ये ना गए हों। तो काफ़ी इन्होंने खुद बता रहे हैं इतनी पिलोज, इतनी दवाइयाँ खाते थे। तो इनके एक दोस्त था, उसने इनको एक मशवरा दिया। वो कहता है जब भी वो मेरे पास आता है, मेरा दोस्त मुझे कहता था बी काम, बी माइंडफुल, बी काम, बी माइंडफुल, कि बी प्रेजेंट, यानी कि रिलैक्स करो, प्रेजेंट में रहो, थॉट प्रोसेस में ना जाओ, इमोशंस पे ज़्यादा फोकस ना करो, यानी अपने ऊपर हावी ना करने दो। तो वो उसको आते ही बी माइंडफुल, बी माइंडफुल, बी माइंडफुल कहता है। तो 2018 में उन्होंने डिफरेंट मेडिटेशन क्लासेस अटैच की अपने साथ, यानी डिफरेंट क्लासेस में वो उन्होंने टेक्निक सीखी कि अपने थॉट प्रोसेस और इमोशंस को कैसे कंट्रोल किया जाता है। जैसे मैंने आपको अभी जिक्र किया कि वर्ल्ड इकोनॉमिक फॉर्म ने जब अपनी एक लिस्ट प्रोवाइड की 21st सेंचुरी की स्किल्स में, तो उसमें जो टॉप स्किल थी वो थी ایموشنل انٹیلیجنس، اپنے ایموشنس پہ کیسے کنٹرول کرنا ہے، کیونکہ یہی ہمارا سب سے بڑا دشمن ہوتا ہے. جیسے میں نے آپ کے ساتھ ایک کوٹیشن شیئر کی الزابتھ کی، وہ کہتے ہیں کہ وی آر واٹ وی تھنک، ہم وہی ہیں جو ہم سوچتے ہیں. اینڈ آور ایموشنز آر دا سلیوز آف آور تھاٹس اینڈ وی آر دا سلیو آف آور ایموشنز. یعنی یہ جو ایموشنز ہیں یہ ہمارے تھاٹس کے غلام ہیں اور ہم ان ایموشنز کے غلام ہیں. اگر ہم ایموشنز کو اپنے اوپر حاوی ہو جائیں گے، یہ ایموشنز اپنے اوپر حاوی ہونے دیں گے، تو ہم بیسیکلی ان کے غلام بن جائیں گے، اور یہ جہاں جس ڈائریکشن میں ہم موو کروائیں گے ہم وہاں پہ چلے جائیں گے. وہ ڈپریشن میں ہو، وہ انزائٹی میں ہو، وہ ایک جگہ کوئی چیز ایگزسٹ ہی نہیں کرتی، فیئر، آپ اس کو ریئلٹی سمجھنا شروع کر دو. تو یہ ڈفرینٹ کنڈیشنز جو ہیں ایموشنز کے حاوی ہونے سے ہوتا ہے. اور ایموشنز کہاں سے آتے ہیں؟ یہ کس کے غلام ہیں؟ آپ کے تھاٹس کے. اٹ مینس کہ آپ کا تھاٹ پروسیس کو جب تک آپ سائلنٹ نہیں کریں گے، تھاٹ پروسیس کو آپ ڈیکریز نہیں کریں گے. اس کے لیے بڑی خوبصورت ایک انہوں نے ایکسرسائز بتائی، میڈیٹیشن. کہتے ہیں میں میڈیٹیشن کرتا رہا، میڈیٹیشن کی کلاسز. جب میڈیٹیشن کیا ہے، جس طرح ہم 5 وقت کی نماز پڑھتے ہیں، اب اس 5 وقت کی نماز میں we say prayers 5 times a day، اس میں ہم میڈیٹیشن پروسیس کرتے ہیں اپنے تھاٹ پروسیس کے تھرو. اس میں ہم 5 وقت میں بی پریزنٹ، بی مائنڈفل، اس طرح کی چیز ہم اس 5 وقت کی نماز میں 5 منٹ ہر روز 5 منٹ کے لیے ہم دے سکتے ہیں، جس میں ہم اپنے ایموشنز اور تھاٹس، اس میں ہم سوچیں گے کچھ نہیں، ہم صرف اپنے آپ کو دیکھیں گے اندر چل کیا رہا ہے. تو یہ ہوتا ہے بی پریزنٹ، بی مائنڈفل، بی کامنس. اپنے آپ کو جو انڈرسٹینڈ کرنا، اپنی ایموشنز کو انڈرسٹینڈ کرنا صرف روز کے 5 منٹ کے لیے. اس میں آپ نے اپنے آپ سے بات کرنا چھوڑ دینی ہے، لوگوں سے بات کرنا چھوڑ دینی ہے، صرف آپ نے درخت ڈھونڈنا ہے، نیچر ڈھونڈنی ہے. جس طرح اس نے کہا کہ میں تھراپیز کرتا تھا ڈفرینٹ. کون کون سی تھراپیز؟ ہوا کی، پانی کی، یعنی سکون والی جگہ پہ جا کے میں اپنے آپ کو بی پریزنٹ، بی کام، اور وہاں پہ جا کے میں صرف اپنے آپ کو پریزنٹ کنڈیشن میں اپنے آپ کو آبزرو کرتا تھا کہ اندر کیا چل رہا ہے. اس میں میں نہ سوچتا تھا کچھ نہ کچھ. یہ صرف روز 5 منٹ کی ایکسرسائز آپ پریکٹس کریں گے تو آپ دیکھیں گے کہ آپ چیزوں کو آبزرو کرنا شروع کر دیں گے. اور یہ ایک میں نے آپ کے ساتھ ایک شیئر کیا تھا کہ ہماری جو زندگی ہے 95 اور 5، 95:5 پہ چل رہی ہے. یعنی 5% ہماری کانشیس ہے اور 95% ہماری انکانشیس ہے. یعنی ہم 95% انکانشیسلی سوچ رہے ہوتے ہیں جو ہمیں پتہ نہیں ہوتا، اور 5% ہماری کانشیس ہوتی ہے. جو ہم کبھی ہم ڈرائیو کر رہے ہیں تو اچانک ایکسیڈنٹ ہونے لگے تو ہم وہاں کانشیس ہو جاتے ہیں. اسی طرح کوئی چیز ہم سیکھنے لگتے ہیں تو وہاں کانشیس ہو جاتے ہیں. تو 5% جو ٹریگر ہے اس کو ہم نے انکریز کرنا ہے. وہ کیسے کرنا ہے؟ وہ میڈیٹیشن کے تھرو کرنا ہے. آپ نے اپنے آپ کو آبزرو کرنا ہے، انڈرسٹینڈ کرنا ہے. بے شک یہ مشکل ہے لیکن ناممکن نہیں ہے. یہ ابھی انہوں نے بتایا سنجو نے کہ میں اس چیز سے نکلا ہوں، اور میں اب تھائی لینڈ کے جتنے بھی مینٹل ہاسپٹلز ہیں یا مینٹل ہیلتھ کے جو پروفیشنلز ہیں میں ان کے ساتھ کام کر رہا ہوں. اور اس نے ایک بڑی خوبصورت ایک آئیڈیا جنریٹ کیا. میں آپ کے ساتھ وہ آئیڈیا شیئر کرنے لگا ہوں اردو میں. تو وہ انہوں نے ایک ایپ بنائی، ساتھی ایپ، SATI. یہ ایک ایپ ہے، یہ صرف تھائی لینڈ میں ہی ابھی ورک آؤٹ کر رہے ہیں. اس کے 3 فیزز ہیں. اس کے 3 فیزز. نمبر 1 فیزز وہ کہہ رہا ہے لسننگ سروسز. پہلی فیز میں آپ جب ایپ کو دیکھتے ہیں، فار ایگزامپل میں ڈپریشن میں ہوں، میں نے ایپ ڈاؤن لوڈ کی، میں نے اپنا نمبر دیا، ٹھیک ہے، میں نے اپنی ایج گروپ لکھی اور اوپر لیبل نہیں لگایا کہ میرا نام کیا ہے، میں کون سی ہسٹری، صرف وہاں پہ آپ نے انٹر ہونا ہے. سب سے پہلی جو فیز ہے اس میں آپ جو آپ کے اندر چیز پڑی ہوئی ہے آپ اس کو بولنا شروع کر دیتے ہو. اصل میں مسئلہ یہی ہوتا ہے ہمارے ساتھ کہ ہم اندر سے اپنے اندر وہ چیزوں کو چھپائے رکھتے ہیں، ہم بولتے نہیں ہیں. جس طرح اشفاق احمد صاحب بڑے خوبصورت ایک جملہ کہا کرتے تھے کہ ویسے تو پاکستان میں انہوں نے کہا پاکستان میں ہر بندے کو ایک رونے کے لیے ایک کندھا چاہیے ہوتا ہے. تو وہ رونے کے لیے کندھے کا مطلب ہے کہ یہاں پہ سننے والے بہت کم ہیں، جواب دینے والے ججمنٹل لوگ بہت زیادہ ہیں ہر جگہ ہی، صرف پاکستان میں نہیں. تو اس نے پہلی جو فیز ہے اس ایپ کی وہ لسننگ سروسز. اس میں آپ فار ایگزامپل ڈپریس ہیں تو آپ کے اندر جو بھی غبار ہے آپ وہاں پہ آپ بول سکتے ہیں، وہاں پہ لوگ سننے والے ہوں گے. تو لسننگ سروسز پہلی فیز میں اس ایپ میں ہوتی ہے. نمبر 2 وہ لوگ جو اس کنڈیشن سے نکلیں ڈپریشن میں، آپ اس کے ساتھ اٹیچ ہو جائے، وہ آپ کو ہوپ دیں گے کہ میں بھی اس کنڈیشن سے نکلا ہوں. اور جو تیسرا فیز ہے اس ایپ کا، اس میں اگر آپ کے پاس یہ डिफरेंट कंडीशंस आपकी स्पेयर कंडीशन है, तो वो आपको किसी साइकोलॉजिस्ट या साइकेट्रिस्ट के साथ कनेक्ट कर देंगे और वो आपको मेडिकेशन या ट्रीटमेंट या साइकोथेरापिस्ट देगा। तो ये 3 फेजेज़ हैं, लेकिन सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट फेज़ मुझे फर्स्ट लग रहा है। क्यों? इस फर्स्ट फेज में आप अपना जो आधा दुख है वो वैसे भूल जाते हैं। क्यों? आपको एक बंदा चाहिए होता है जिसके साथ आप अपनी चीज़ को शेयर करें और अपना जो दुख है वो आप डिक्रीज कर सकें। तो ये आखिर में उन्होंने जो कंक्लूजन्स किए हैं वो मैं आपके साथ शेयर कर देता हूँ। उन्होंने कहा है कि आपको हर दूसरे बंदे की केयर करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि अगर आपका मुल्क फॉर एग्जांपल इतने करोड़ आबादी का है तो वहाँ पे इतने साइकोलॉजिस्ट, इतने साइकाट्रिस्ट, इतने डॉक्टर्स नहीं हो सकते। तो ये हमारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि हम केयर करें अपने इर्द गिर्द के लोगों की, उनको सुने, उनको उनके साथ तल्ख कलामी ना करें, यानी कि गुड लिसनर, हम गुड लिसनर बन जाएं एटलीस्ट। अगर हमारी आबादी में आप यकीन माने 50% से कम भी लोग अच्छे लिसनर बन जाएं, सिर्फ सुनते रहें लोगों की बात, जिसमें वो जो डिप्रेस हैं, तो आधी बीमारियां वैसी ख़त्म हो जाएंगी। नंबर 2, विदाउट जजमेंट। उसने कहा है कि जजमेंट के बगैर आप किसी बंदे को एवं जज करते रहते हो कि बुरा है और होता वो अच्छा है उसकी, यानी हमारे पास 100 एक बंदे में खराबियां हों, ठीक है, उसमें कई अच्छाइयाँ भी होती हैं। तो ये चीज़ आप छोड़ दें कि आप किसी बंदे को पूरा जज कर सकते हैं। तो विदाउट जजमेंट गुड लिसनिंग जो है, ये हमें लोगों को डिप्रेस होने से बचा सकती है। लोग शेयर करें अपनी इमोशंस, ताकि वो अपने जो दिल का जो गुबार है वो एक जगह फेंक सकें। एंड नंबर 2, अंडरस्टैंड योर इमोशंस। उसने कहा है कि आप अपने इमोशंस को अंडरस्टैंड करें, अपने आप को रोज़ 5 मिनट दें, इसमें आप एक मेडिटेशन, अपनी आंखें बंद करके आप अपने आप को देखें कि आपके अंदर क्या चल रहा है, थॉट प्रोसेस जो है आपका, उसको ऑब्जर्व करें, उसको रिस्पॉन्ड ना करें, सिर्फ अपने आप को एक साइलेंट प्लेस पे लेके वहाँ पे अपने आप को ऑब्जर्व करें कि हु आर यू। बी साइलेंट, बी माइंडफुल, बी इन काम प्लेस। आप काम प्लेस पे जाके सुकून वाली जगह पे जाके ये वाली एक्सरसाइज कर सकते हैं। तो ये मैसेज था। और आज की जो वर्कशॉप, आज की जो हमारे पास वेबिनार था जिसमें हमने मीटिंग की थाईलैंड के एक बहुत मशहूर गवर्नमेंट के साथ ये प्रोजेक्ट्स करते हैं, जिसको हम कहें, जिस तरह एक हर चीज़ का एक वकील होता है, तो ये बेसिकली मेंटल हेल्थ के वकील थे जिनसे हमने बात की। और ये डिफरेंट इन्होंने लेक्चर्स भी दिए अपने मोटिवेशनल डिफरेंट कंट्रीज़ में जाके, जिसमें स्विट्ज़रलैंड है, इंडिया है, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स है, और डिफरेंट जगह इन्होंने जाके अपनी जो मोटिवेशनल स्टोरी है कि मैं कैसे डिप्रेशन से, सुसाइडल कंडीशन से बच के मैं इस एक्टिव रोल में आया हूँ, जिसमें मैं अब आपके सामने बिल्कुल एक एक्टिव रोल अदा कर रहा हूँ। बी हैप्पी, बी माइंडफुल, बी प्रेजेंट। थैंक यू वेरी मच। अपना बहुत ख्याल रखिएगा जी। अल्लाह हाफिज़।